Okay, everybody, buckle your seatbelts because the Michael Finkley Show has a brand new home.
The Michael Finkley Show is now a part of the Greater Works Network on Roku TV. To watch, add the Greater Works Network channel to your Roku TV. Congratulations, Finkley!
We're serving others here on the Michael Finkley Show.
We have Tadean Page and also Tabitha James.
To help leave this world a better place by your having had been here. However you choose to do that is totally up to you or the vision that God may have given you if we're going spiritual.
Coming up.
Just to see a brighter side, 'cause I've been working all my life just to make it, just to make it, just to make it. I've been working all my life just to make it.
Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. So I can remember my grandfather, who was a man of God. He was a bishop, my grandmother, first lady. And I can remember them giving of themselves more than anything. They would give back to their communities, their church family. They were just so much of persons that gave. And it resonated with me through my entire life. I feel like now this is why I am such a giver. I don't mind giving up my time, my resources, in so many cases money, if it comes to that point. My words of wisdom, experience, knowledge, that type of thing. We feel that giving from the heart truly heals. It can definitely shift atmospheres and it can change lives. On today's show, we have two fantastic individuals that have a heart of service, a heart to give. We have Tabitha James with us, and we also have Tadean Page with us as well. They give so much. It is just amazing within their communities and their environment around them. And you get to hear their stories today. How exciting. So don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Coming up, we get to chat with Tadean and Tabitha. We'll be right back. On the next Michael Finkley, we have Sylvester Jenkins, Yvonne Baker, and Tyreek Wynn.
Next Finkley.
Wednesday.
Looking for a mentoring program for your young male between the age of 6 and 18 in Columbia, South Carolina? Well, look no further. Big Homie, Little Homie Mentoring Program is the program for you.
Under the leadership of Mr. Jamal Stroud, Big Homie, Little Homie is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that caters and mentors at-risk youth that come from single-parent homes. The organization caters to young males between the ages of 6 and 18 within the greater Columbia area. The organization is devoted to shaping and molding their life into great men of society. Big Homie, Little Homie organizes male gatherings, discussions, and even educational assistance devoted to guiding and leading them into a positive light. Making a positive attitude will help in transforming a life regardless of what is experienced in life. For more information on Big Homie, Little Homie Mentoring Program, visit our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, this segment of service that we'll be discussing today is very near and dear to my heart, and I have two awesome experts with us today. And I tell you, I have been with these persons for a long time. We're from the same area. We share Greekdom together, and they have a heart for service. So introducing Tabitha James and Tadean Page. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having us. I'm super excited.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Michael.
Oh, y'all are so awesome. I can't wait to get this conversation started. So each of you, Tabitha, I would love to hear your definition of service. What does that mean to you?
Wow. That's like you had to hit me like that. But
yes, I had.
To me, and this is a rephrase of someone else's quote about it being the rent that we pay to be here on earth. And I truly do believe that, because the heart of service got me here, and the heart of service is going to get me somewhere else, right? And the heart of service is what I do for others in all genuineness, right? I don't expect anything back, but it always comes in knowing that it may not come the same way that I rendered it. But service is just that sweet to me. And so I'll keep it simple in my definition that I feel, and I don't think that, everyone has to feel this way, but I feel that's what I have to do. It's my purpose work. It's my heart work. And when I do it, I just feel so fulfilled. So that's me at service.
Wow, service is what I have to do. I love that, Tadean.
And this is why Tabitha is one of my best friends. Because we're along the same lines and our hearts are so in sync. And I don't even know if I have a clear definition of service, nor do I think there has to be one. What I am is a servant who happens to serve, right? So I'm a servant. And I, much like Tabitha, I struggle with trying to give people clarity or definition as to what that should be. Because to me, it's literally who I don't know who I would be without service. Genuinely, I think my whole life is made up of service. Within my work, within my personal life, within my friendships, I serve. I was born serving, and I was born into a family who taught me to serve and the importance of service. So for me, I think it has just become my lifestyle. So to try to define that, I really do struggle. But if I had to try to put some words with it, I think to Tabitha's point, number one, more than anything, rather than clarity, I think it needs to stay in a state of having autonomy, but it is our duty.
It's our duty.
It is our duty. It is our duty. So for me, service is your duty, your responsibility to help leave this world a better place by your having had been here. However you choose to do that is totally up to you, or the vision that God may have given you if we're going spiritual. But it's your rent here. It's your rent and it's your footmark. It's your legacy.
Wow. Oh my gosh. See, y'all, this is why they're here. Y'all see, they had already started. And that's just the first question. This is why they're here. I'm just saying. And so you all being from the PD area, come on, PD area. There we go. Were there any change agents that influenced you to just continue to give as you do, Tadean?
Me first. It's a long list. It is a long list. And I have to start with my mom.
Yeah.
My mom. Watching her serve, it blows my mind, right? As a kid, you don't really process the impact as much. You just see it as things you have to do, or you have to show up because you're in the car, you can't drive, all these different moments. You just kind of a tag along. But as an adult now who can bring it into my level of consciousness and understand the way that my mom made impact in our community is mind-blowing. It's her legacy, and it's a story that the whole world needs to know. And that's actually something I hope to do as well, to pay that back to her. But beyond that, I think my mom is the greatest example of service for me. The way she served so many in our community, from kids to their parents, through church, through childcare. I mean, it's just amazing to watch. After that, I have to say my grandparents and my dad as well. But even outside of my immediate family, there were so many other people in our community who I looked up to, and still some alive today. But I have to mention Elder Kevin Thomas, who was the owner of House of Thomas Funeral Home. He was a great man. And I didn't realize how much of an impact he had on my life until he passed away. So now I live a life where I can not make that the case, right? How do I really appreciate and affirm those who have come before me and have made such a path? I live by this quote that I created. Hopefully this quote becomes part of my legacy. But our world is everything it is because of those who have come before us, those who march alongside us, and those who inspire to do the same in the future. Our world is everything it is because of those who have come before us, those who march alongside us, and those who inspire to do the same in the future. That's my big quote I want when I'm dead, gone. I want that quote to live on for years and years. But I think it's so true, and it ties rightly with the statement that you just made. When I think about those who have come before me, those who still have the pleasure to work alongside, who still here with us in this presence, and then those who inspire to do the same in the future. That's the service for me. That's the work. So parents, grandparents, Elder Thomas, and every other person as well. I think we forget that part. I learned from life. I learned from every single person. I learned in every single moment. But those are the staples from my community that I really wanted to shout out and give their flowers in this moment. Tabitha, what about you?
See there, I got to go after that there. Now you know. Now you know.
I got to do a little sip.
Okay, but what I will say is that I'll start outside of my immediate family and saying that I'm a kid that was raised by the village, right? And so when I think back over all the people that poured into my cup of life, right? They saw little tiny Tab, right? For real tiny Tab, she was real little. And the leadership that she had, her ability to articulate words, her ability to mobilize people, and me not being able to know that, but them unconsciously putting me in positions of leadership, asking me to speak, sending me on the trips, just pouring so effortlessly into my cup. I would not be able to be the person that I am today without that. And then what I would say internally is from aunts and uncles, grandparents, my parents, they are servant people, right? We have taken people to the doctor and paid bills and given food. And I hear stories of, way back in the day when somebody may have not had as much and it was given of the overflow to them for them to be able to sustain. And so hearing those stories, right, I don't take that for granted. And what I realize now is that we have so much, right? I have this phone, we have the way that we are connecting here that our ancestors never had, right? So for me, it would be a slap in their face if I did not do the things that I do, right? Why can't I achieve so much? Why can't I be the next best, whatever it is that Tabitha D. James wants to be? Because if they could do that with so little, why would I not with so much? So for me, when I think about those pillars, it's just so many people. And it's really hard to put those names out because I know I missed someone. But I have to piggyback on Tay and say, seeing my mother serve, seeing her serve sick, seeing her serve with little, seeing her serve with a lot, seeing her do things that I was just like, no, why are you even doing that for these people? Just not really understanding. But in just true humble spirit, just being so giving and seeing how that we never went lacking, right? Could give up so much and never saw lacking. And so for that, I definitely had to. I may not name anybody else, but I definitely got to shout out Mama Cheryl because that girl, she truly taught me service to all mankind.
Oh my gosh. I don't have to say anything. I just got to ask a question. Y'all is just, y'all, oh, yeah. So we all know through service, when we serve others, there's a change that's made. And that change could look different for anyone that we come in contact with. So Tabitha, do you define yourself as a change agent in your community? And what have you done to help others in your community?
Well, see, you playing. That's deep. And this is really hard too, because it's really hard to, I don't want to say brag, right? Because it ain't brag, it's telling the truth. But it's really hard to put into words the thing that you've done, because what I realize is that my pure existence is an example to someone that it's possible. And with that being said, there's lives that I've probably impacted that I don't even know about, right? The way that I'm able to move across this country and the world from a teensy tiny small town, that in itself is an example to a young Black girl and or boy that I can do it too, right? I posted recently on social media about there were administrators who said she'll never be successful. She has an attitude. She won't be quiet, all of these things. And in humbleness, I want to write him a letter now and say, ooh, baby, you were so wrong. But I thank God for a mother and a support system that continue to say you can do anything, right? They saw beyond that, those minor issues, and knew that that young girl could achieve. And so when I think about quantifying how I am a change agent, I think that there's nothing beyond me, and in any way that I can serve, I'm going to serve. So there's a lot of things that go on in the community that I may have a backhand or very back end piece of that puzzle, but whatever role that I can play, it may not be meant for me to be out donating the supplies, but I may have been on the back end making sure there was funding for the supplies, right? I know how to play my role when the role is needed, but don't let that fool you that I won't roll up my arm, I'll roll up my sleeves and pass out supplies, because that's not beyond me. But in this season of my life, I realize where I'm best served. And where I'm best served is making sure that there's funding, making sure that there's support, making sure that these things are even happening on the front line. So when I think about being a change agent, it is that strategic piece that I do in my day-to-day business life. How can I utilize that to be a benefit to my community?
That's good.
This is heart
That's good,
stuff.
friend.
Tadean.
That's good, friend.
It's
That's
on
good.
you, Tay.
I put out the notebook because I mean you said some really impactful things in there, and I think I'd start off by saying for me, I would consider myself a change agent. I'm in a season of my life where I'm clearly articulating who I am and the presence that I bring to this earth. I am a change agent. I'm a change agent. And with that, that comes responsibility and accountability. Responsibility and accountability.
So,
This is, again, it goes back to duty. Because one of the things I've realized, the more service that I do, the more circles I get in, the more I meet people with certain tax brackets and all these different experiences. What I realize is that we look at service as missionary work, and we look at it as something like a stone in our crown. Like it's something for me. It can easily become self-righteousness, right, rather than service. And I am very intentional to stay in a place of service and not self-righteousness.
Come on.
I want to say, Tabitha said something that made me think. Number one, to answer your question, quite frankly, I can't quantify all the service that I do. And I read a post the other day and it said, if you can tell me exactly all the service you've done, you haven't done enough. But I want to add a little asterisk to that, or a little parentheses right here, in the fact of either you haven't done enough, or all capital letters on the or you're only looking at a certain limited view of measurables. Right. So I have this program, Tabitha, for example, Tabitha has She Is Me, a mentor organization for young females. Right. Her data points that she really focused on is, hey, did they get through school this year? What are the grades? Right. What was their attendance in the program? All of those things are very measurable. What you oftentimes can't measure is, I was in the bed that night about to kill myself, but Tabitha gave me hope.
Yeah.
Those are all the data points that we sometimes don't get. So again, when I think of service, I get myself out of the mindset of, well, look at all the data points only. No. This work is real. And this work lasts and it's impactful to people on so many levels. So I want to lead with saying that some of the bigger things in which that has shown up in my life is through my work with Black boys. So I do a lot of work with Black boys. I am a Black boy or a Black man. And I think that sometimes we have not been given the experience or the opportunity to just be. To just be. So a larger part of my service is providing spaces and opportunities for Black boys just to be able to do just that.
Yeah.
To just be. My real mission, and I don't say this one out as much as it's not great for marketing, but the real mission of my work for Black boys, I want to make Black men soft. I want to make us soft. I want us to have space where we can be vulnerable and where we can share. And that's
what's missing.
Where strength lies. That is the strength.
That's funny because, and I know this isn't part of the question, so just excuse me, but
no, please.
I want Black girls to not think they have to be the strongest apple in the bunch, right? They don't have to. You don't have to be a strong Black woman at 12.
Yes.
You need to be a little brown girl.
And how do we create those opportunities through our service, right, to foster that?
Right.
So I know I'm doing a lot of that work with Black boys. Tabitha's doing a lot of that work with Black girls. But beyond that, service to me looks like taking time to make someone feel good throughout the day. It looks like me being accountable. It looks like me being disciplined to care enough about the work to do it right. That's what service is for me on a deeper level. So I think about the little boy who would go to his granddad's church and clean up on Saturday by himself. My life is blessed now because of those service moments. Not just getting on this camera and talking today. It's me going to the church and cleaning up by myself. Yep. It's me going to the elder house, right? And taking them a plate. It's these little things that we sometimes negate.
Yep.
So we don't think about as much because we see something so much bigger in mind. So again, I hope that moment validates for somebody watching that your service is just who you are and how you choose to show up. Whether that's you sending someone a text message to encourage them, or you creating a whole platform and network for millions of people to get that encouragement from you. Regardless of that spectrum, your job is just to do what you're called to do. And do it to the best of your ability with discipline, care, and concern, because it matters.
It does. It definitely does.
Yeah. So I think service is my life. So it shows up every single day that I wake up. How do I make the world better? That's my first question when I wake up. How can I make the world better? And you talked about how do we make our communities better. I think even through making our communities better, we make our world better.
Oh, yeah.
our impact is much larger than we think. Because if one person is better in dealing, then therefore the world is better.
Yeah.
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 I love the way you said that. When we start with our communities, it will impact our environments. Therefore, it will impact the state, the world, the region, whatever that does. It starts with you. It starts with you and what you're doing. But when we come back, we're going to talk more about that, especially the new diversity that we are seeing in the world and how that's impacting our persons of color. We'll be right back.
Next, more with Tadean and Tabitha. We'll be right back.
Need a little motivation?
Timothy Clifton is with us every week on Mondays to get your week started with a little motivation, all here on The Michael Finkley Show.
I'm just not college material. I am tired of school. I'm just not sure what I want to do after graduation. Sound familiar? Welcome to the Prelo Educational Institute. Our focus is to help young people prepare for life after high school. It's never too early to start planting the seed for education, career, and life overall. The Prelo Educational Institute is made up of the following two products. The first product is the book titled I Ain't Going to College, A Guide for Life After High School. This is the first book of a series that introduces middle and high school students to a young man struggling to find his way and make the decision about whether attending college is the right choice for him or not. The book has questions inside, and a supplemental curriculum can also be purchased. The newest product from the Prelo Educational Institute is our online course titled Preparing for Life After High School. In this course, students will learn about decision-making, self-confidence, accountability, self-awareness, and many other topics that speak to social-emotional learning. Young people will read a story about a young man who never gave up no matter what the circumstances were. The course is interactive and has questions, quizzes, and video. Do not wait until your child or student is a senior in high school to start planning. Enroll today. To enroll and learn more, please visit www.speakerauthormarlowe.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. We are still chatting with the change agents. They have a heart for service, and they're making a major impact within their communities. We're talking to TNT. We're chatting with Tabitha and Tadean. And I must say this, when I saw our new administration in Washington, D.C. and the impact of diversity that it has, it's just so eye-opening. It's so eye-opening for so many people, but for self, it makes me empowered. And truly, when I say the word still at 30, 31 years old, when I grow up, when I say those words, I can now have someone to look up to because they're in those positions, right? And so I look at our youth today, and when they say these words, when I grow up, I want to be whatever that may be, they have now representation of what they want to be. So what are your thoughts? So start with Tabitha. What are your thoughts about the new diversity that we're seeing in today's world?
Wow. Well, I have to start by I can't find words on how amazing it feels, not only because I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and my sister is our VP, but if I took that off the table, it's the fact of even if she wasn't a woman of color, it's the fact of seeing a woman, right? It adds much more value that she's a woman of color. Even more value that she's a member of the Divine Nine that graduated from an historically Black university, one of the amazing historically Black universities. So that in itself just symbolizes so much hope around what we can do. And so when I look at the rest of the diversity, just across different sectors in our political climate right now, it goes hand in hand with the work that we do with Black and brown girls and boys. And we say, you can do anything, and let me show you an example of how. Let me show you an example of someone who has done it. Because it doesn't matter how many times someone tells you that you can do something. It is really hard when you haven't seen anyone who looks like you do it, right? When you're thinking it's 2021 and we're still having the first this and the first that. And, it does make us feel, even as an adult, to your point, that, wow, can I really? And so I have no desire to do anything in politics, but I can't even put into words how inspired I've been just to continue doing what it is that I do and operating in my zone of genius because I owe it to someone who's looking to say, wow, well, Miss Tab could, so I can. So Tay, how does it feel for you?
Come on, Tay.
Ooh, yeah. So this is Michael Finkley Show, so we're going to talk. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it.
Number one, I have to be honest. Now that we have a new administration in, I do have a level of peace that I did not have in 2020 or 2016 to 2020.
You too?
I have to be honest and say that.
Yeah.
I have to be honest and say that. I think it's bigger than one person. I'm not even going to give him all that energy.
Right.
But again, it's a different air.
Right.
I feel. I have to say this. This is the real part of me who does this work. I'm not, wowed that they're giving us diversity. You owe me diversity. And I think we have positioned ourselves because of how deep a lot of these things are, and it's beyond just racism, but if we think about diversity holistically, from race to age to sex to gender, right? Socioeconomic status, varying abilities, all these different areas, oftentimes whatever group that is, when you're the minority or the minoritized, we oftentimes carry this self-imposter syndrome that I don't deserve to be here. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, with my raised level of consciousness, you don't wow me by giving me numbers. You wow me by including those people beyond the numbers that creates opportunity for more equity. That's how you make me happy. That's how you make me happy. So I'm happy, let me say, number one, that we are in a place where we at least are checking the boxes now.
Mm-hmm.
To be centuries later, and we're finally checking some boxes to say the first this or the first that. I am happy to be to be here and to see it when my ancestors did not. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
However, we shouldn't be at the first, right? So now that we're here, we see that it's possible. Let's build momentum and let's make it even stronger. Let's make it even stronger. And it goes back to what Tabitha said about representation. And representation is so important because oftentimes you don't even know. We talk about just dream, right? Just shoot for the stars. What if I don't even know that I can dream? Like, we forget that part of it. So many people love to say, you can be whatever. You can. But everyone can't see it before they can see it.
Right. So
representation makes that possible. And as Tabitha was talking, I pulled up, we know we lost Cicely Tyson this week.
Yeah.
And Viola Davis said something so beautiful that I think really aligns with what Tabitha just said. In her remarks to Cicely Tyson, she said, "You made me feel loved and seen and valued in a world where there is still a cloak of invisibility for us dark chocolate girls." This is the line that I wanted to mention. "You gave me permission to dream because it was only in my dreams that I could see the possibilities in myself. In a world where I can't see it anywhere else, how can I see it in my dream?" Right? So to this point, representation is so important because it allows me to take it from here to bring it to real life. Right? It takes it from here to real life. So the more we can create those opportunities to do that, the more we can create those opportunities to do that. The more we can create those opportunities to do that is not a badge of honor, but it's something owed to communities, to people, to individuals who have been worthy and deserving of it all along. So yeah, so in short, I'm happy. Yes, I am happy. However, let's start the work. Now is the time to do the work. Now is the time to do the work. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because even on last night, as I went to bed and I prayed and I told God, I'm going to be this. I am this. I am that. As I'm speaking into my life, at this point in my life, at age of 31, I am believing truly my own words because of what's going on around me. So therefore, I can be much more effective for people that I come in contact day to day. It brought me to tears last night as I laid down to bed. It brought me to tears. My words truly empowered me. Therefore, I can truly empower others through this service that we talked about just a few moments ago. So this is what it's been doing for me. I'm believing myself finally because of what's going on around me. So I have this new energy now. 2021, I have this new energy now to say and do and help others.
And stand firm in your worth and in your value.
Yeah.
And I love how you said you can be so much more effective now because
Yeah.
you recognize that worth. That's the power. Because if I can keep you from that, I never have to try to oppress you because you're going to oppress yourself mentally.
Oh,
but if you get into a place of believing, I mean, you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable when you can believe. And I think to your point, through Tabitha's organization, through the work that I'm doing, through the work that you're doing, we're providing opportunities for people to believe again.
That's it.
Or believe for the first time. I can't even put again on that for everyone.
Yeah.
To believe and for others to believe again. And that's beautiful.
Definitely. That's major. Tabitha, what do you want others to know about giving in your own words?
If you are being selfish, you can never be self-full. I say that to say that many people will, I've heard several times, I don't have anything to give, or, I'm busy, I can't do all that service, or, I can't donate to this or that and the other. And I just say, find ways to give, no matter what that looks like for you. For someone, it may be giving inside of your own family. There's a cousin, there's a niece, there's an auntie, there's somebody who needs even what you have to say. I think oftentimes we try to quantify giving as either monetary or time, but there are pieces of our wisdom. As long as any of us have been on this earth, there's pieces of our wisdom that we can give to others as a way to serve. And so that's it. You cannot be a self-full person being selfish. It's never going to work in your favor. And I challenge people who don't find ways to give and ways to serve to go ask someone a few years their senior, right? And when I say a few years their senior, I go down deep and find the old folks and ask them how serving or giving has helped them along the way. And you'll find some people that'll be real transparent to say, if I could go back, I'd do it a different way. And then you'll find those who have put service at the forefront of their life that will say, I've never gone lacking because I've gave so much. How about you, Tay? Y'all know I get Southern. I get a little old time on. I get a little old on.
That's the PD.
I love that. I mean, you said all the things. So just to add to that, number one, I love interviews. I will always reference a lot of interviews. I learn from people and I learn from life.
Oh, yeah.
To know that Cicely Tyson literally released her book this week, also passed this week. Her work was done. Her service was done. In her last interview with Gail, the last statement, she said, Gail asked her, what is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be? And she said that I've tried my best. That I've tried my best. Can we die saying that? To Tabitha's point, you'll hear a lot of people say, I wish I would have done this. I wish, no, I want to die saying I've done my best.
That's empty. I want to die empty. I want to die empty.
Also, this is the magic part of that, in your capacity. That was my response to your question. What was the question again? How
do you want others to know about giving back in your words? Yeah.
Give in your capacity. Because that doesn't create room for excuse. Give in your capacity. You can't you don't have to be crazy like me, okay? Let me say I am crazy. I like doing a million things. But it doesn't have to be your capacity. If it is, I hope it liberates you to know that you can as well. But if it's not, what is your capacity? That's so much more important. What is your capacity in 3 areas? Through your time, your talent, and your treasure. Time, talent, treasure. Those are 3 different ways you can give. And in your own capacity within those 3. So your time, how can you show up? How can you give? How can you provide? Right? Time. That's volunteering. I'm showing up. I'm doing this, right? Your treasure, you already know. That may be your money or the resources that you have access to. Again, look at that. Not just money. What are the resources you have access to? That's capital. That's capital. If you have a connection with an organization over here
Yeah.
who can fund what you can't fund, that's your treasure. So in your capacity. And then the last one, which I think is really important, and I want to affirm, especially for people around our age, is talent.
Yeah.
Give in your talent. I sit on a number of boards, and I'm actually at the point now, I'm not saying yes to any more boards right now. I'm not. And I'm going deeper into the ones that I'm currently on. But for a long time, I knew the importance of me just having that seat.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew the importance of having a seat, but then also showing up and doing the work to affirm why I have this seat.
Yes.
I'm in a position now in life where I'm realizing that I can give and show up the way that I best can. And that is my treasure and my time and my talent for that organization or that work that I'm trying to do. The reason I say that is because a lot of times there's, again, this idea that I'm not as instrumental to the board because I can't write a $25,000 check today.
Right.
I'm not as instrumental to the board because I can't write this big check. But guess what I can do? I can build the heck out of our social media presence. Guess what I can do? I can make our website look better. Guess what else I can do?
Yeah.
I have connections that I can plug into this. Guess what? In a room full of pessimistic thinkers, I'm optimistic. That brings stuff to your way of service. So I hope that affirms somebody else to know that if you can show up in your capacity, in your way to give, that is your power. And number two, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So it's your duty, again, sorry to tell you, to do it. Not only do you get to do it, it's your job to do it.
Right.
But you do it well. And I'm telling you all, it's a aha moment for me, because this is literally just an awakening for me within the past 2 months. Again, your skill set is the greatest thing that you can give to that organization.
Come on.
Not that check. It's your skill set. And if I can use my skill set well, that will help us drive in whatever our intended outcomes are, whether that's whatever it is for that particular entity or work that you're doing. But show your capacity and affirm that. And affirm that. And affirm that. Yeah.
I love this. I love this. I definitely love this because, again, it shows our different interests. It shows what we do within our own rights, our own talents, how we define success, and to make sure that everyone around us can see their full potential as well through our service, and what that may look like is different for everybody. I love the way you're bringing that out. And so each of you, you give with your hearts, you give with your words, but you also have businesses, you have publications. Tabitha, talk about what you're doing.
What's up? Oh my goodness. So I'll be light on the list, right? So in very brief version, I work alongside organizations and individuals to create greatness, right? Whatever greatness means in their regards. How can I bring my strategic eye, my management eye, my finance eye? How can I bring that eye to ideas and make them reality and help you make them reality, connect the dots? So a big piece that we've been doing lately is just strategic mapping with organizations, right? Like, what connections do you have already that can help you to reach some of these goals? And then from there, we can reach the rest of those goals. And so that's my day in and day out. But when I'm not doing that, on the other end, you find me with the Black girls and the Black women creating magic, running the Dear Black Girl Shop, and She Is Me mentoring program is so much a part of my hard work and my life. And I won't necessarily say purpose or mission, but I will say that it is what I'm called to do in this season. And the reason I'll be intentional with that wording is because there'll be a season where I don't want to say age out, but I'll phase out. And I'll be more of an instrumental arm into making sure those things are remaining sustained, and that whomever is running those things are running them in the standard of excellence that my foundation has set. And so in this season, we are making sure that foundation is on good, sturdy soil, so that we are serving not only in the area which I reside, but many areas across the Southeast. And it's my hope to expand across the country with both of those organizations. So that's what my life looks like. And you can find and follow me on all the places and all the spaces.
All right.
I don't know why I'm smiling so hard. But Tabitha is one of my favorite people on this earth.
Same.
one of my favorite people in this earth. I don't know if I'm a proud friend, proud father. I don't know what it is right now going on.
All the above.
Just feeling all the things. And to hear that clarity as you walk more into that is beautiful for me as a friend who's been a part of this journey. So I just had to throw that in there. What do? I tell people I change the world every day.
Yes.
I lead with that because it shows up differently in many different forms, in many different ways. And I have learned to affirm that I change the world. And through that, I change as well. So my interest, my purpose, and not even the purpose, but how I show up to fulfill that purpose changes with different seasons and areas and capacities. So what I have right now that I do, of course, I still work in higher education. So I work at Winthrop doing some stuff there. Y'all know I love Winthrop with all my heart, my mind and soul. So still doing some things there with some particular or specific groups of students. So working a lot with our first generation students. So that's been an exciting journey to start. Outside of that, I have my own company. So I'm the owner of Ascend Solutions, which is where we produce change by providing hope and solutions. My tagline is, and it sums up the entire company, is handled. Mm-hmm. I work with businesses, organizations, individuals, personal brands to help take them to the next level. Yeah. So there are some, key areas that we focus on. I really do focus on community engagement and social impact strategy. So that I help you do more good. How do I help you do more good? So how do we take your idea from here to here? My job is to help you figure out everything in the middle. So essentially project management. So I work with clients on an ongoing basis to help them with that. But I also work with people for a contract or one-time basis as well to help them think through or brainstorm that as well for them. Outside of that, I have Motivating Males. So of course, all of my work with Black boys. So we have social media, so you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Motivating Males, just that simple, Motivating Males. You can find a lot of encouraging content. We do Dear Black Boy statements. We post a lot of dope content and just cool stuff that you may see circulating around our social media world. We share those contents as well, and then highlight local owned businesses that are owned by other Black men. So you can check out our pages for that content. In addition to that, I have my book, Dear Black Boy. So you can find that on Amazon or on my social media or tadeanpage.com as well. I have the I Can Too coloring book, which falls under the Motivating Males Initiative, which is a coloring book for Black boys to see themselves, right? It's not my hair swooped to the side. I don't have that type of hair. It's hair that looks like me. It's people that feel like me. And I can see myself in that, back to the point of representation. So we have that as well. Tabitha, you're so funny. And then the last one, it's kind of my newest baby on the block, which is the Hope Dealer movement. So it started off as just a way to bring people into an idea that I just wanted this shirt myself, honestly. I wanted a shirt that said Hope Dealer. And from there it grew into people wanting it. I was like, okay, well, let's think where this goes. So Hope Dealer at its current phase is an apparel shop online, hopedealermovement.com. We have sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, baseball caps, stickers, coffee mugs. We're releasing a new coffee blend, our own special coffee, in February. So we're excited to launch that as well.
Come on, coffee.
Yes. I have to get, and I know Tabitha loves coffee. Are you? You like?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll give y'all a blend so y'all can taste it. Maybe you can review and let me know what you think. But we're going to have a Hope Dealer coffee coming out later this month. So excited to launch that. But really what Hope Dealer is transitioning into, the apparel and the item was just to bring people into the movement. Yeah. But once you get here, what you will find is hope, love, and light. It's going to be through our stories. It's going to be through our experiences and bringing people together to share those stories so others can be liberated through that as well. So that's what you can expect for Hope Dealer in 2021 and beyond.
2021.
And what it grows into, years down the road, this becomes my foundation. Yeah. It becomes my foundation where I can support local Hope Dealers or the work that others are doing without me having to put my hand in every single pot.
Exactly.
Here's the money, the strategy, the resources from our foundation that helps you implement your plans into the world to make our world a better place. So that's what we grow into in the future. So those are the three things that I have right now. There may be some new businesses to arise throughout this year as well. But I'm just excited about what God is doing and me staying open to Him in the process. So it's beautiful to watch myself grow and evolve as well. So yeah, so that's Tadean in a nutshell right now.
I love it. And Tabitha, one more time, how can they find you on social media?
Well, you all can find me. Go to TabithaDJames.com and you can find all the things. I feel like I'm on everywhere. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Find me all the places. Tabitha D. James, the name doesn't change. And from there, you can find your Black Girl Shop. She is mentoring, programming, any other thing that I may have my hands in, you can find on my handles.
All righty. Y'all heard it here. I don't know about you watching, but I know that I'm encouraged, inspired, and informed. Thank you so much, Tabitha. Thank you so much, Tadean, for being on with us. We really appreciate your words, your wisdom, and your knowledge. Thank you so much.
On the next Michael Finkley.
We have Jamie and Tamika Divine with us. They talk about their awesome divine life. We also discuss their major achievements in their community and in politics.
Next Finkley.
Thursday.
Hello, welcome back. So you know what today is? Today is Motivational Monday with my dear brother, my dear friend, Timothy Clifton. Timothy, take it away.
What's up, man? It's Millennial Coach TC. I just want to come talk to y'all about your environment and you setting your environment. So I was having a conversation with one of my uncles the other day, and he said something that hit a big thing, a light bulb in my head, you can say. And he said that he seen a lizard right before he sat down, and it was brown. And I was like, And he said, sometimes people are like lizards, and they just blend in with whatever environment they in. And I was just thinking that, that's so true. You can't be a lizard. You gotta know who you are. You gotta know who you are as a person. You gotta know what morals you stand up for, what beliefs you have, in order to stand strong when you're in bad environments, not to take on their bad habits. So you want to stand strong, and you want to figure out who is me, who is I, so whenever I go anywhere, I can stand on who I am. I don't change with whoever the crowd I'm in. And some of you just change with whoever crowd you in, and you settle your morals and you settle your beliefs because you don't even know your own, and you just follow whatever the crowd go, and you're not standing out. So in order to stand out, you gotta know who you are, what's your beliefs, what's your morals, and it don't matter where you go, you set the environment. The environment don't set you. You set the environment. You set the mood. You set the temperature. When you go around people, they supposed to act the way you act. If you set good examples, they supposed to feel weird to not be a good example around you. When you so positive, there's no reason why somebody should even be comfortable with being negative around you when you have such a strong positive influence and positive aura about yourself. So don't be lizards. Stand up.
Calling all TRIO, Gear Up, JAG, and other college readiness organizations. Hello everybody, it's Finkley with the Finkley Experience. I am here to offer you information about our college readiness cohort series.
This college readiness series includes college applications, SAT, ACT prep, scholarships, financial aid, the mental mind state, HBCU versus PWI versus technical colleges, and so much more.
You know, this is helpful because it's actually like making me change my college plan.
Really?
If you're interested, visit our website, thefinkleyexperience.com, or just email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. We're looking forward to working with you.
Next Finkley, we have Martin Bailey and we have Natalie Williams.
On the next Michael Finkley.
Friday.
Hey, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something today about giving and a heart truly of service today. I feel like definitely it makes the world go round. If we give, we pay it forward, and we continue the process until everyone's doing it. It's just an amazing action. Thank you so much, Tabitha. Thank you so much, Tadean, for being with us today and sharing your words, your experience, and your knowledge. We appreciate you. On the next Michael Finkley, we have a trio with us on Wednesday. We have Tyreek Wynn, we have Devon Baker, and we also have Sylvester Jenkins with us. And again, incredible stories you don't want to miss. They're all special in each of their ways. So Wednesday, okay? If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel on The Michael Finkley Show and ring that bell of notification. We'll send you an email saying, hey, new content's uploaded. Please again listen to us on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts as well. And for up-to-date information, please visit our website at michaelfinkleyshow.com. Thank you so much for watching. And guess what? We'll see you Wednesday. Have a good one.